Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 25, entitled The Glories of Devotional Service, text number 21. Titik Sava Karunika Surya Sarvadinam Ajata Sattavashanta Sadhava Sadhubhusana Titik Sava tolerant, Karunika, merciful, Surya, friendly, Sarvadena, to all living entities. Ajita Shatrava, inimical to none. Santa, peaceful. Sadhava, abiding by scriptures. Sadhubhusana, adorned with sublime characteristics. Translation. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He is peaceful. He abides by the scriptures. And all his characteristics are sublime. A sadhu, as described above, is a devotee of the Lord. The Odani are a little loud.
It's louder than you.
Yeah, it's whatever it is, if you could slightly. A sadhu, as described above, is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. That is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. The devotee travels all over the country from door to door preaching, be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply following your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self-realization or Krishna consciousness. These are the preachings of a sadhu. He's not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. He's the most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. One of his qualifications, therefore, is karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements, and therefore, the sadhu, or devotee of the Lord, has to be very tolerant. Someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive the transcendental knowledge of devotional service. They do not like it. That is their disease. The sadhu is the thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified, Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces, and Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant Nityananda was violently attacked by Jagrai and Madai. But still, they were very tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of a sadhu is that he is very tolerant and is merciful to all fallen souls. He is merciful because he is the well-wisher of all living entities. He is not only a well-wisher of human society, but a well-wisher of animal society as well. It is said here, Sarvadena, which indicates all living entities who have accepted material bodies. Not only does the human being have a material body, but other living entities, such as cats and dogs, also have material bodies. The devotee of the Lord is merciful to everyone, the cats, dogs, trees, etc., and treats all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately get salvation from this material entanglement. Shivananda saying, one of the disciples of Lord Chaitanya gave liberation to a dog by treating the dog transcendentally. There are many instances where a dog got salvation by association with a sadhu, because a sadhu engages in the highest philanthropic activities for the benediction of all living entities. Yet, although a sadhu is not inimical towards anyone, the world is so ungrateful that even a sadhu has many enemies. What is the behavior between an enemy and a friend? It is a difference in behavior. A sadhu, therefore, behaves with all conditioned souls for their ultimate relief from material entanglement. Therefore, no one can be more friendly than a sadhu in relieving a conditioned soul. A sadhu is calm, and he quietly and peacefully follows the principles of scripture. A sadhu means one who follows the principles of scripture at the same time is a devotee of the Lord. One who actually follows the principles of the scripture must be a devotee of God, because all the Shastras instruct us to obey the orders of the personality of Godhead. Sadhu therefore means follower of the scriptural injunctions and the devotee of the Lord. All these followers of scriptural injunctions, all these characteristics are prominent in a devotee. The devotee develops all the good qualities of the demigods, whereas a non-devotee, even though academically qualified, has no actual good qualification or good characteristics according to the standard of transcendental realization. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Yananda Salakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda. So here the qualities of the devotee are described, and I see all these qualities in you, at least to an extent, and that makes such a gathering inspiring, because we see that at least externally we are dedicated to these ideals, whether we have fully realized who is as tolerant as Haridas Thakur, who has all these qualities to the same extent as the great personalities in Srimad-bhagavatam, all the Mahajans have. But still, to maintain such qualities, that is our culture, and these are our ideals, and these are the things which we are keeping in high esteem. And so, tolerance, mercy, friendly to all living entities, no enemies, peaceful, abiding by the scriptures, such nice qualities. That makes it inspiring. And we see all the Sankirtan devotees who have dedicated themselves to distribute books, or we see the cooks who are not sleeping in such a festival, they are just cooking. We see the pujaris. I mean, Ramananda told me he went to bed at 1:30 last night, and still in full gear today, still going strong. And that is the way that devotional service carries on. Somehow or other, we are ready to sacrifice our self-interest. So much is done, and it is not a commercial enterprise. It is all a devotional enterprise, and even if there are some costs, it is all aimed to somehow or other carry on and serve the Vaishnavas. So this culture is so important, and to come together with the devotees is nourishing. I think everyone can come from such a festival with some fresh inspiration. Definitely, not artificial, not, but genuinely, because we can genuinely see that people have shown some extraordinary dedication. Somehow or other, in this assembly, I am the only sannyasi, and then sometimes the sannyasi gets the spotlight, you know, like all the eyes are on the sannyasi, and everyone expects that the sannyasi is going to do it. He's going to do something very deep, very powerful, very spiritual, very inspiring, and all the time, 24 hours a day. That would be the best. So, and then in such a vertical mood, everyone expects that I am going to be the one who is going to give the inspiration, but I don't see it like that. Rather, I got inspiration. I got inspiration from so many, of you in various ways. I can really appreciate. I used to be here, and there used to be a Prabhupada disciple named, anyway, he was a pujari, and he would come and he would do a lot of mantra and tantra, right? Lots of rituals and lots of mantra. So I used to think all this hocus pocus, right? I mean, it's not the essence, the essence is compassion, the essence is preaching. I was thinking like that. But then he was installing a chakra on top of this building, and he did a 3-day installation, and he was chanting mantras and mantras and mantras and mantras and mantras and mantras, and then a few more mantras. to a point where he lost his voice. Right? Now, I've also many times lost my voice when there was so much kirtan. So I could identify with that. There I felt like, okay, we are now sharing something, we both lose our voice in devotional service. And with that I realized, yes, he really did it. He really did it. He really made a sacrifice. Right? He really did something that's not so easy. And he tried to install that chakra and invoke the presence of Lord Vishnu, and maybe he did, I was thinking. Maybe it was more than hocus pocus. Maybe it was more than just this mantra and that mantra, because he really gave himself with dedication. So, and then I thought, yes, I think the Lord actually appeared. I think he's in the chakra on the roof, if you had any doubts about it. It's not just a chakra on the roof, I tell you that. That chakra was installed there with mantras. So in this way, we can appreciate the potency of the dedication of the Vaishnavas. After Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, somehow or other, by some arrangement, some tricks of Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, somehow or other by some tricks of Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya was brought to the house of the Vajracharya. And then all the devotees, they came there, they all got the news, and Mother Sachi then was brought in a palanquin. And then Mother Sachi, who knew, she knew that according to etiquette, especially followed at that time strictly, a sannyasi should not see his relatives, because he should leave home and he should not go back to his home. Of course, so Lord Chaitanya followed that for the sake of public recognition. Now we may recall that Lord Chaitanya took Ekadanda sannyas, and Ekadanda sannyas includes those principles. In Tridandi Vaishnava sannyas, that's not an issue. We can even go home and bestow mercy upon his relatives, except the former wife. There he has to keep a distance. Anyhow, so Lord Chaitanya, somehow or other, by a trick of Nityananda, met all the devotees from Bengal and even Mother Sachi. And then Lord Chaitanya showed a transcendental mood. He said, what could I have done? I was mad. Somehow or other I took sannyas in a fit of madness, but now it's too late. Now it's done. Now what could I do? How could I give up my mother? But now it's done. So then Mother Sachi, she begged, and she said, I beg that I may be allowed to cook this week, and I'll be the only one to cook, because everyone wanted to cook. But that was granted. So Mother Sachi was the only one to cook. And when Mother Sachi cooked, it was just something else. It was like she cooked. Anytime she cooked, it was special. But this time she knew she was cooking for the last time for Levi. So she was cooking with so much love and so much devotion, and she was just putting everything in there, whatever she made. And then it was offered. And then, when the devotees come to Mahaprasadam, just tasting one bite of it, that prasadam was just not prasadam, if you know what I mean. It was prasadam. I mean, there is prasadam and prasadam, you know what I mean? And also just prasadam. I mean, you can buy this stuff from the supermarket, read the ingredients, said, well, it's vegetarian. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, prasadam. Right? That is prasadam. Right? But then there is prasadam, you know what I'm talking about, where the devotee has just, with great love and great dedication, taken so much effort to do something extraordinary, and you can taste it every bite, that this is something extraordinary. And that's what the devotees were tasting, and Mother Sachi too. So this movement is made of dedication. It is the dedication that makes things special. And it is the dedication that is the means by which we preach. If we think that preaching means to learn the art of hypnosis, then we're making a mistake. You feel like you want to take this book. You really feel. Yeah, that's. We have to actually. We purchase a devotee. Purchases other with their dedication. Another story which I like is, since I was talking about Lord Chaitanya's sannyas, is in the Chaitanya Chandradori Natak, it is said that every night in the house of Srivas there was kirtan, and there was one night one devotee got a little tired with going on the whole night, so he found himself a corner and he went to sleep somewhere in the house. When he woke up, everybody was gone. The house was empty. So he came out of the house and he met a devotee there. And then the devotee said, you have heard, the Lord is gone. And he said, yes, of course, yes, the Lord is gone, everybody is gone, the whole house is empty. But then he was thinking, no, maybe he didn't mean it like that. Maybe he meant that the Lord is gone. He said, you mean the Lord is gone? And it was. Thank you. The Lord is gone. So that was a big drama. It said all the devotees were just on the edge of dying. And they only lived by the rope of hope. But then they started to look sort of if anybody else was missing. and they sort of realized that Nityananda was missing, and Acharya Ratna was also missing. So then, Acharya Ratna, at one point, Acharya Ratna returned. So when Acharya Ratna was coming back, all the devotees came to him and said, Acharya Ratna, what happened? And Acharya Ratna couldn't speak, but the devotees forced him to speak. So then finally he spoke, the Lord took very long. And although he covered his mouth, everyone understood it, that the Lord took sannyas. And then Acharya Ratna said, but I don't know why I left him. How could I leave him? When I was in his association, how could I leave him? But I left on the order of Nityananda, who sent me here with a message for Advaita Acharya. And the message was that I will somehow or other bring Nimai to the house of Advaita Acharya. And when Advaita Acharya heard this, Advaita Acharya jumped up in the air, started to dance in great ecstasy and said, Nityananda, Nityananda, what a friend, he has conquered me. He has conquered me. So, I've told this story many times, and the reason why I tell this many times, because to me it's not a story. It's not a story which is like good story. It is a good story, but it's a lot more than a good story. It's a pillar in my life. It is an essential principle that I learned from that, is that in relationships we have to conquer. We have to conquer. We can never take them for granted. We can never think, now this person's commitment is assured. Whether it is a marriage and the ring goes on the finger, it means nothing. It's just a little bit of metal. It means nothing. It means one has to conquer. It's not, now the ring is there, now it's conquered. No, one has to conquer. In the same way, between guru and disciple, one may initiate someone. Doesn't mean they become our property, although they are our property. Technically speaking, they are our property from the time of initiation. I didn't tell that in the Yakya, but I'm telling it now after. Yes, according to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, they are our property. Alright, well, that's nice, but still, they don't always behave like our property, these disciples. Because it doesn't work like that. Just a banana in the fire and now you are my property. No, it is an ongoing process of conquering. So relationships are based on conquering. And it is that, in that way, that we are able to spread this movement. That we are conquering people. It is not through some technique. It is simply by great qualities. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanya, most magnanimous, and devotees are also magnanimous. They will give. Dadati pratigrinati. They will give gifts, and they will receive gifts. So this is an important point of loving exchange, of generosity. And such generosity is our trademark. In the course of working on the master plan for Mayapur, we came across a man called Charles Eisenstein. Not Einstein, but Eisenstein. Okay? Pretty close. And Charles Eisenstein came up with an idea called sacred economics. And it was an economic based on giving. Instead of charging for everything, it is all based on giving. And if one person gives to another, the other person becomes indebted and feels like doing something in exchange. And he is an economist, so he just drew a whole model on how an economy can work that way. Instead of pay your way, pay your way where everyone is in competition with each other. And you can find it on YouTube, Sacred Economics. And it is very nice. And when I saw this, I thought, this is ours. He somehow or other came across something that belongs to Lord Chaitanya. That is the economics of Mayapur. I saw that as we were making the master plan. This is the economics of Mayapur. This is how it should be. Mayapur should be a place of such generosity that everyone who comes is overwhelmed and just feels indebted. And it feels like doing some service, something in exchange. Can I do something? Because we're giving so much. That is the principle. Srila Prabhupada started the Sunday Love Feast, and there were 15 preparations, and each one was like outstanding. There was nothing ordinary. Everything was special. I mean, in the Lilamrita it is said that Satsarup wanted to be renounced, so Prabhupada was serving out, and he said, any seconds? Satsarup didn't want to say more sweet rice, so he just said, just some more rice. I just want some more rice, wanted to be renounced. But even the rice had like little cheese balls in it, and cashews, and all kinds of things. Even that rice was like, yummy rice to them. So filled with devotion. And then all that was for free. The Sunday feast, basically, one would come to the Sunday feast, load up the packages, and it would last till Thursday. Yeah? Put it in the fridge and enough, it would last till Thursday. On Friday was a miserable day. But Saturday there was hope because the Sunday feast was near. And then again, and devotees would join the temple and would just live from Sunday feast to Sunday feast. The only reason they didn't leave was because you're not going to miss the Sunday feast, are you? You couldn't do that. So somehow or other. But that was Prabhupada's generosity, Prabhupada's way of purchasing people. This amazing prasadam, and all for free, and take as much as you want. And it made people indebted, and it created a service attitude. So this is a Vaishnava who is just so generously giving that anyone just feels indebted. That's the way to preach. That's the way to convince. That is the way that people will actually take Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, why would they take it? Well, we have the superior philosophy. Yeah, everybody's got that. I've got that too. Of course, everyone thinks he's got the superior philosophy, obviously. There's Woody Allen, and Woody Allen said, you can go to a church or a temple or a mosque, but that doesn't make you into a devotee. You can go into a garage, but it doesn't mean you become a car. That's his logic, right? And it's a good line. He's a text writer. It's a good line. You can go into a garage and you don't become a car. It's smart. Yes, but being in a temple, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. Here, you do become a car. Here, you become a devotee. Oh yes, it happens. It happens every moment. And how does it happen? Because we are being purchased. We're being purchased by devotees. The devotees, they purchase us. Are we the greatest philosophers? Most of us are not. Are we the greatest scholars? Most of us are not. Do we really know Sanskrit? Most of us don't. We just bluff our way through. Do we really know the Shastra? Most of us don't. But one thing is there. We're trying. We're really trying. We're trying to be devotees and do things nicely. One of my early services was to clean a VIP room, and it had to be done very quick. So I got the dust and I put it under the carpet. And then I thought, Krishna can also look under the carpet, so that's not going to work. So I lifted it back up, took the dust out, and actually took it out. Yes, devotion, not cutting corners, but really do it properly. Do it as nicely as we can. Give ourselves. And in this way, everything becomes possible. In this way, we can expand our boundaries. Whereas in the material world, it's like, you're being educated for a particular type of thing, and that's what you do. There's something else you cannot do. But in this movement, the principle of surrender, somehow or other brings us to the point of trying. I'm not really trained for this, I don't know anything about it. Anyway, you try. Okay, I'll try. And on the strength of trying, and we struggle, but we learn. And somehow or other it gets done. Somehow or other. So in that way, this movement is not going on mundane skill, it just goes on a sincere effort. Doesn't mean that we cannot use any mundane skill, because we can, obviously. We can take something from experts and use it, but that is boga. That is boga. And that we have to offer. And if you, to Krishna, I said it the other day, you must cut away the bad parts and then offer to Krishna. And that can be a little bit risky. Just like when you work in a laboratory and you're testing all kinds of diseases, it's dangerous. You could catch one. It's dangerous. I once had to go to a doctor and they made me do a stool test in India, right? Okay. And then there was the whole test, and all the results were on the test, and at the bottom it said smell. And I was just imagining this guy in the laboratory all day. What a joke, smell, French cheese. Anyway, so that's a dangerous profession to deal with contaminated items. So when we take things from the material world and we engage them in the service of Krishna, it's always a little dangerous, because we could unwillingly pick up some contamination, even although, so there we are a little careful. But still, anything and everything can be, we can find a purpose to offer it in the service of Krishna. Yes, a devotee is not walking around in this world and left and right seeing Maya and just say, oh, Maya here, Maya there, like, just take away this Maya, and I'm walking the path of pure devotion. In a cloud of Hare Krishna. Of course, if we could chant all the time, that would be wonderful, but that's a little difficult. But we can take the things of this world and engage them in the service of Krishna, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha Yukta Vairagya Uchite. And yet, you know, these things of the material world also carry a particular quality of a mode of nature. And we take products of ugra karma, of this material, of this modern situation, ugra karma, horrible work meant to destroy the world. The Prophet said, they called factories the dungeons of the demons. So things that are made from the dungeons of the demons. Yes, these things can be purified and used in the service of Krishna, but they may still keep some of their ugra nature, like a computer. Whether you use it for Krishna or for Maya, the computer sucks you dry. And it sort of like sucks your brain. A phone is addictive and is absolutely a dangerous thing. There's no doubt about it. Of course, you know, you can make your phone a devotee. That helps. That's my advice. Make it a devotee. Put lots of Krishna consciousness on that phone. But still, it's still ugra. It's still ugra. A car is still an angry machine. Yeah. Even if you play a nice Hare Krishna tape in it, it's an angry machine. And so on. So Yukta Vairagya is something that for the service of Krishna, yes, but in our private life, as little as possible. That is the principle. The Yukta, yes, we connect everything in for the service of Krishna, and for our private life, we minimize it as much as possible. Whatever that means, according to our needs. Obviously, when you're 20, you need less than when you're 70. That's for sure. Things change over time, quite a bit, surprisingly so. But anyway, so we carry on in this world, somehow or other, connecting everything with Krishna for the sake of generosity. So we're very generous. Prabhupada, when it comes to standards, strict for ourselves and liberal with others, Prabhupada said. In preaching, if you're not liberal, how are you going to preach? Wasn't Prabhupada liberal? Extremely liberal. Conservative? No. Conservative we are not, Prabhupada said. Right? When they called him a Swami of the conservative sort. Right? No, he was ready to do anything. He went to this peace vigil, this function dedicated to peace because he thought he could chant there. But they would not allow them to do any kirtan because it was supposed to be silent. And then Prabhupada was just chanting japa. But then, there was a part of the peace vigil there was a performance of a band, and this band had a song about smoking banana peels. Apparently people say, don't try it, but apparently people say if you smoke banana peels that it also does something. I never tried that. In Amsterdam they do other things, but whatever may be, there was a band, and everyone was dressed up in banana costumes, and they were singing about smoking banana peels. And Prabhupada rolled on the floor. He thought it was the funniest thing he ever saw, the most ridiculous thing. He was not conservative. He was cool. Prabhupada was a very cool Swami. And why was he a very cool Swami? Because he was ready to deal with anyone on a real level. Yes, it wasn't that he was ready to just just bless everything and say everything is okay and it's all fine and like bless and bliss and love Swami. No, he was not like that. But he was ready to just deal with everyone. No one was exempted. No one was too fallen. So sorry, but for you, you can't do anything that you... No, Prabhupada could engage anyone. In Los Angeles, there was someone who went first into one bathroom and then into the other one because there was a sex change and people were a little disturbed. But Prabhupada just told that person, he said, all right, you make your choice, you decide what you're going to be, but then you stick to it, no more changing. You just stick to it and you chant Hare Krishna. So, very liberal, extremely liberal, not at all conservative from India. India is sometimes so much, rules, not enough, I was sitting in one temple waiting for darshan, it's like 45 degrees, and the doors are closed of the deities, and I drank a little water. And someone from the temple comes, no, you cannot drink water, you're sitting here. Which Shastra? I could have said, which Shastra? This is not Shastra, this is just folklore. This is just one person imitating another. This is not based on Shastra. But I didn't say anything. Please, thirsty like anything. 45-minute wait for the darshan. Parched. But anyway, I got darshan. That was nice. And drank a liter of water after. No, we are not the International Society for Rules and Regulations. I have an analogy, which is an analogy of that spiritual life is compared to driving. And we start our journey in the night, and it's pitch dark, and you're driving. You don't see anything. So you really need the white lines on the road. You're basically driving on the white lines. You're just watching those lines, and you're driving on the lines. For non-drivers, that's what drivers do. You watch the lines, and you're driving on these lines, and that keeps you on the road. Otherwise, you cannot see where's the edge of the road, and so you really need the white lines. So, in the beginning in spiritual life, we're driving on the white lines. It's about regulations and this and that. But as we're driving longer, the day begins to appear. And as the day starts, we see also the landscape. And we're driving on the white lines, a beautiful lake over there, very nice, a mountain, okay. Looks nice, beautiful landscape. So we're seeing so many things, and we're still driving sort of on the lines, but not just looking only at the lines anymore. We also see the landscape. So as we are advancing, it's not only about regulations. Yes, regulations are there, but it's also the landscape. So Prabhupada did not bring regulative principles and make them into a big club and start hitting people over the head. He said, you sinful, you must follow. If you don't want to go to hell, then you will be saved. No. Prabhupada tolerated. He tolerated so many things. And in the process of tolerating, yes, Prabhupada was just allowing people to grow and to take the next step for them, to take a step forward. And in that process be tolerant and to engage someone in the service of the Lord and say, oh, not everything can be done all at once, but it will follow. He never forgot the regulated principles, even although in the beginning, right, it was tolerant. But no, he gave the 4 regulated principles quite early. They had to be there. But then so many other regulated principles, they came later, gradually. In this, because tolerance is the spirit. The spirit is to somehow or other bring people Krishna, to somehow or other awaken some taste, to somehow or other capture them with dedication and devotion, and to bring out a little bit of natural service attitude, which is there in everyone. Everyone can do some service. It's just when they feel, everyone has a heart, and when everyone feels we've done something for them, that they received something, they feel inclined to do something in return. This is where it begins. This is somehow or other how it all goes. So this very nice feature of Krishna consciousness is what binds us in this movement. Where each devotee, speaking about competing, where each devotee is competing to just make an offering, to make a contribution, to just bring something to the forum of the Vaishnavas. And then everything happens. I mean, we see a play yesterday, and it was clear they didn't rehearse very much, but they just somehow or other tried, right? They tried to act out as good as they could, and and it was nice. Even if the beard was going down a little bit, put it back at one point. His mouth was almost above the heart. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was, and there was a message, and there was a sweet little Krishna, and all that was it's just bhakti, because we see, although it wasn't like a professional production, they tried to make it nice. And one can see that they just tried to make it nice. And, and whatever it is, we try to make it nice as much as we can. And if we do so, then this movement will be nice, and then we will conquer each other. And then we can have a movement based on friendship. When Yadubar Prabhu came out with his videos series called Following Srila Prabhupada, what he did is he took the same material, a lot of it, that he had used before, and some stuff he hadn't used before. But what he also did was he took not only the pictures or the footage of Prabhupada, but he also put the footage of the devotees around it. So you're looking at this following of Srila Prabhupada, you're not only looking at Srila Prabhupada, but you're also looking at the movement that was growing around him. That's why I liked it very much. I liked it a lot because I could see the result of Prabhupada's preaching. And then there was the San Francisco Ratha Yatra, which was done in this tiny little storefront. It's so small, there's no space for anything, but they did a big Ratha Yatra. And somehow or other, so they're making the canopy, sewing it on the stoop, on the sidewalk, because there was no space in the temple. The whole temple was just spilling over on the sidewalk, and the temple itself had become one big kitchen, and somehow or other they did everything from a tiny little temple. And then you see the devotees, they had a real close-knit family feeling, like they were all Prabhupada's disciples, children, and they were very close together and really like appreciating each other. Even men, women wasn't like a rigid relationship. Even there was appreciation. A brotherly, sisterly relationship. So it's very nice actually to see that mood. Then later things changed, and our society became more a society where so many people were there, so many devotees, you didn't even know them anymore, so many strangers in the Hare Krishna movement. And the result was we became colleagues instead of family. And when you are colleagues, it's different than being a family, because when you're my colleague, look, colleague, get your act together, because you're slowing us down, you know. And I mean, if you don't get it together, you know, we'll trade you in, we'll get somebody else, you know? We'll throw you out and get somebody else. But when there's a family, then what you do? You can throw your brother out. It's going to be pretty bad before you throw your brother out. It's not I did throw my brother out actually once, out of the temple when he started to blaspheme Prabhupada. But we made up later because he's after all my brother. What to do? But normally, brothers, even if they lose it, still your brother, and you try to sort of help them. So this family relationship, a relationship based on kindness, a relationship based on conquering each other, a relationship of being very close together, that is really our Vaishnava culture. And these qualities of this verse are the basis of all of that, where everyone's trying to act according to these guidelines. And I chose this verse because I saw that spirit present here. And of course, it still has to grow more, till it is like the spiritual world, where there's full appreciation. But I saw the seeds of it. I saw that the attempt is there to actually have these positive, loving exchanges. And this is going to be the success of this movement. Why would anyone want to stay in a temple? Why would anyone want to be with us? Unless we embody this spirit of devotion. So that's the point I wanted to make to you. I'm leaving later on in the evening. So this is sort of my farewell to you all. I'll sing a bit more of that. This is the last thing, my last message. Let us somehow or other take that with us, this spirit of conquering each other with dedication. And then this movement will be alive and vibrant, and it will become free from politics, and it will become very inspiring. Any questions? Any comments?
When we talk about this Titikshara Karunika principle, there is always, I'm trapped in my mind between this tolerance and humility on the one way, and on the other side you can get someone on your head. So is there a line between these things, or is there a line at all? What is the line between tolerance and humility
and self-preservation? Yeah, what is the line between tolerance, humility, and self-preservation? It depends where we are. If we are Kanista, the line is in one place, a little closer to us, a little closer on the side of self-preservation. If we are Madhyams, the line is a little more close on the side of tolerating and of being very generous. And if the line is on the Uttama side, then it dissolves. Is there a line? You can see, like Prabhupada gave it his everything, complete dedication. What did he hold back for himself? So old and just give everything. That's why he's still conquering us today. Although people never met him, but they find out about him and become so touched that they surrender their life. That's amazing. No lie. It depends where we honest around it. But we have to be honest, and we cannot just leave the line out right now and tolerate everything. Sometimes you may need to put a sign on the door with teeth, you know. Do not dare to knock, this door bites. It's necessary to have some privacy. But we have to be very generous at the same time. Otherwise we are preserving ourselves very nicely and so on, and our life is nicely controlled and very balanced, but the mercy is not going out. So for the sake of the mercy to go out, we have to upset the balance sometimes. Then we come back home and get a little more balanced. So when we're out in the field, you can't always be balanced. You know, when you're out preaching, you cannot just be balanced. When you're out preaching, you have to rise to the occasion. You have to give it what it takes, what the situation needs. You know? You cannot say, well, I'll do so much. No, you have to give it everything you can to make it happen. Then what happens? You know, it's like if you want some person, whether it's a book or whether you want a person to chant Hare Krishna or whatever you do in preaching, whatever, if you want a person to take up Krishna consciousness, you have to extend yourself all the way to, you know, to somehow or other help that person across. Otherwise, you're not going to help. Prabhupada said it takes gallons of blood. You know, gallons of blood means where's the self-preservation? So let us preach and take some risk. You know, you are as old as you want to be. Some people are old at 25 because they retire. They retire from taking risks, they retire from battling. When you're young, you're ready to take on any challenge, you're ready to battle. Do it somehow or other. It's tough, but we're going to do it. But when you get older and retired, now I don't do this anymore. I used to do this. Okay. As soon as you go, I used to do this, you're old. And, you know, Prabhupada never became old. He just stayed young. He just didn't become old. Didn't do it. Just kept that young spirit forever. So let us stay young and take on challenges forever. And just somehow or other do it. You know, somehow or other do it. The young spirit instead of the retired spirit. Well, I have to slow down a little bit now. Of course, you know, physically it may be, but then you have to be intelligent. Like I like the karate movies for one reason, and that is you see the young guy and he's like doing all the flying kicks and all those things, and then the old master comes out and he's like got the chi, you know, and it's super concentrated. It's like a totally concentrated effort, right? And then he comes in and then without all the moves, you know, just and all the opponents fly in all directions from the chi. So the old Simhacalam devotee is also like that. It's about the chi, you know, it's very concentrated. It's got to be. It's not all that energy running around, forget it, you know. Like, I'm going to do that. And somehow concentrated. So, never give up the fight. Let's preach. Any other question? Yes.
Maharaj, you spoke about that.
You spoke about that sacred economy system, and it seems to me that it can be easily exploited. That when we are giving, then people can come and they can just take advantage and don't give nothing in return.
Yeah, if I take that back to the Sunday feast, that was called the freeloaders, you know? That's the American term for that, the freeloaders. The freeloaders, they come in and they just come to eat and they don't do anything. But, you know, we'll make them do something, you know? Once we notice that someone is a freeloader and keeps on coming, we'll give him the broom and say, can you clean the floor this time? And so even the guys who are exploiting us, they got too close. You're playing with fire. We'll get you. Yes, you take advantage of us. You cheat us, but Krishna's the greatest cheater and we will fall in. So you try to cheat us, we'll cheat you back. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest cheater of all? Krishna. So Krishna will give. So we don't worry about that in the course of our preaching. But we notice it, the freeloaders. We know about them. And we'll get them. We'll get them engaged. You. Potatoes. Peeling.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned private life and devotional service. And what did you mean by private life? What is the difference? Shouldn't we take devotional service all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. But there is a private life where we are resting, where we are rejuvenating, where we take care of ourselves. And that's also needed. I was referring to that. And so it's in the cause of our preaching, in the cause of our service, we can engage everything in the service of Krishna. But now when it comes to our own private needs, you know, the sleep, the shower, now you can go, for Yukta Vairagya, I need a waterbed. Because a waterbed can vibrate, and it can massage me while I sleep. It can also adjust the temperature, so I'll stay healthier for devotional service. Then I also need, I need all these facilities, right? I need an expensive car, I need everything best of the best, so I can do my service better. You know? Now, there's the other extreme. I live on 3 chickpeas, I'm sleeping on the floor, I am half dead, totally have no vitamins left in my system, but somehow or other I'm crawling and carrying on my devotional service. No, now, you know, you're too austere, Prabhu. I mean, today, you know, you should have some sweet rice, you know, and some cake. Yeah. So we need a bit of both. There is a private need, right? But if we start to apply the philosophy of Yukta Vairagya in our private situation, where we meet our private needs, there we have to be much more careful. In service, yes, Yukta Vairagya, yes, Yukta Vairagya. For service, yes. But for private? I'll take the Mercedes if someone offers it to me, but I'm not going to buy one. And I'll also be ready to go on the train, or whatever. Yeah. Like this. For our own life, keep it simple. Put a little more emphasis on the Vairagya side. Because the material energy has still some qualities of the modes of material nature. And how transcendental are we really? Yeah? I saw a big 4-wheel drive for you, Krishna. And, okay, sure. Is it really for Krishna? Or are we also enjoying it for ourselves? Therefore, in order to safeguard, since we are not liberated, we better be careful. when we, for ourselves, deal with too much material facility. So keep it simple for ourselves, just in case some old material attachments are coming out. Because we don't want to maintain material attachments by feeding them. The 10th offense of the holy name to maintain material attachment. Think of the material attachment like a pet. You have these people, they have these small dogs, and these dogs, they feed them until it's like, and they're really fat, you know, like a huge, big, fat, round thing with 4 little legs, a monster of a pet. Yeah? So let's not feed our material desires like a fat pet. That's what I'm talking about. The fat pet. Watch out for your fat pet. Any other questions? Yes.
How can we be the judge of our spiritual maturity without involving false ego, or on the other hand, false humility?
Okay. How can we judge our own spiritual maturity? On the one hand, we could fall prey to false ego, and, you know, proud, and on the other hand, we could fall prey to excessive humility, and so how can we judge ourselves? By the more we are advancing in, and that means the more we are taking responsibility in devotional service, the more we are either practical responsibility, or responsibility to live according to the scriptures, or responsibility to chant good rounds, or responsibility to worship the deity properly and not neglect, or the responsibility to honor prasadam properly. The more we get a mood of taking responsibility to live according to Krishna's directions and to do service for him, and take responsibility in service for him, the more we are maturing. And as we are maturing, we are also more and more looking for blessings. The Vedic system of check and balance is blessings. It's very interesting. Nowadays, we have an extra element, we have an institution, and the institution has systems. In the Vedic times, there was no such thing as an organization, organized movement. But there was another system. If, for example, someone wanted to take initiation from someone, and they developed faith in that person, still they couldn't just take. Not in Vedic culture. Because you still had to take the blessings from your elders. And by taking the blessings from the elders, that was a checking element, because if the elders were not satisfied, they wouldn't give the blessings. So in this way, one should always be under the blessings of the elders, especially the spiritual master and some other elders also. Of course, you grew up in Krishna consciousness, and there are many others also, and then your parents are Krishna conscious, and suddenly they're going to claim parental authority based on transcendental knowledge. And therefore you should listen to what I say, because I'm representing the scripture and this is absolute. So you cannot argue with me, which is a bit much. If my father would have done that to me, I'm lucky that he wasn't a devotee, because it gave me some room for rebellion, which I needed to have. So little things we may rebel, but on big things, right? On big things, you better get the blessings from your father. On big things, and all the others, and that keeps us safe from being excessive, overly confidential. I know what I'm doing. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. Or I'm so fallen, I can't decide anything. And that's excessive humility. I'm so fallen, I can't even tie my shoelaces, I'm not sure how to do it because I'm not qualified. How do I do it, I mean, please, instruct me, Prabhu. All these people that keep on asking forgiveness for an offense. There's no offense, right? I mean, when there's no offense and they keep on coming, please forgive my offenses, then I tell them, your only offense is that you keep on asking, please forgive me for my offense. Give us a break, just be normal. Don't try to be the most of anything. I'm the most fallen, I'm the most humble, I'm the most advanced. Just be normal. My mother used to say, just try to be normal, that's crazy enough. Anybody else? Yes.
Maharaj, you were talking about you can be old at 25 when you retire, and I mean, I'm just wondering if you can give some tips on how to get ourselves out of retirement.
So I spoke about 25 and you can already be old and retired, and if I can give some tips to get out of retired, just in case there are some who have already retired. It's, well, I mean, Prabhupada doesn't hide it that the purpose of this movement is preaching. Now, we used to think that means that you have to run out the door with a flapping cape, and just be like super bhakta and just go out there and preach to anything that moves. And nowadays we know that we can also spend some time actually studying the books. Actually, we can take some time for reflection and so on. Like I said to one old Sankirtan devotee, we're having a retreat. He said, don't retreat, go forward. That's from the 80s, that was a typical line from the 80s. So there's a little passionate. We can take time for introspection. We can take time to go deeper into scripture, deeper in chanting. There's nothing wrong with a japa retreat. But if we're retreating all the time, say, okay, how much longer do you need to retreat now? Are you going to come out? Are you actually going to interact with conditioned souls? How are you going to interact with conditioned souls and bring them this knowledge of Krishna consciousness? And like a book distributor the book may be the first contact. Boom, book in the stomach, there it is, or in the hands, wherever it is. Other preachers may also have another approach. First make friends, first talk, and then later on they'll take the book. The books always come in, but somehow or other, to get out of retirement, we got to get out of our comfort zone and connect with the conditioned souls, and somehow give them Krishna consciousness. And sooner or later, Prabhupada's books must also be part of that. And if we do that, and we can do that in creative ways, you can do it just book distribution style, or you can do whatever to attract conditioned souls. You can do street theater. Remember those early devotees on the street, lying on the street, a man in an overcoat, help, help, help! By then, there are 300 people around him. What's going on? This guy's lying on the road. Yeah, what's happening? He goes, I'm drowning. People must be thinking he's crazy. I'm drowning. And then suddenly the man comes out of the crowd. Don't worry. worry, I will save you, I'm a social worker. You know? And he pulls off his coat and he stands with the coat. Now I've saved you. Now I've saved you. And then comes the purport. If you only save the body, you're not saving the person. Because within the body is the soul. And therefore, what are we actually doing for the soul? All our efforts are for the body, for the soul. Would you dare to do it? Lie on the street with a raincoat and call on help? Get out of retirement? Why not? Something bold. Yes.
Even if you follow everything you said,
What's really difficult enough is my disciple. This is my disciple, and now he's saying, even if you follow everything you said.
it's bold, but there's still this tendency to underachieve. So, this tendency to underachieve, I can get rid of that.
Yes, you know, we will encounter anarthas. We will counter our shortcomings again and again in spiritual life. And because we have high standards, we encounter them every day, many, many times, our personal shortcomings. But we also get purified in the process. Although it looks to us sometimes that I'm not getting purified at all, you know. But have you ever been to Badrinath, the Himalayas? Okay, I'll tell you what it's like. It is 275 kilometers driving through the Himalayas. It's a long way. And you know, the road goes, it spins left and right, and you're going up, and then you're going down, and then up again, and down, and up and down, and up and down. And the whole thing is an up and down experience. Right? You make an effort, try to follow all the directives, and you're going up, but then you encounter your limitations and you're going down. But what you notice over time, that although you go up and down, that gradually the road goes up, and that you're suddenly 3 kilometers high, and that you're actually approaching Badrinath, and that, like, you know, and then you come to the last bit. And the last bit is just straight up. It's straight up. So spiritual life is like that also. You go up and down, up and down, up and down. You're always falling short of the ideal. But still, gradually you're coming up. And then you come to a point where you just get serious and you go straight up. Just like going about it. Yes, hands in the back. Speak loud and clear. Microphone coming. Mikro kommt dran. Greif es mal in deine Hände.
Ich spreche auf Deutsch, ja?
Ja. Ich auch.
Du hast über dieses System gesprochen, was so gut funktioniert im Austausch. Warum denkst du, oder kannst du mir sagen, warum das nicht im Tempel bei so Festivals auch funktionieren kann?
I spoke about this system of good personal exchange, but can I explain why in festivals it can also not function like that? Are you talking about the sacred economy, or are you speaking? Yeah. Okay. So it was about the sacred economy. Why can't festivals also function like that? They can. They can. But it takes time for this culture to develop. But I saw in Mayapur, how Bhakti Purushottama Maharaj started something like that. He started to give free prasadam to people, and then rich people from Calcutta came forward to pay for it. He also started to give to devotees who had served in temples for more than 5 years, I think, free accommodation and prasadam. So he started something. The more we introduce it, maybe we cannot do it all in one day. But the more we start this system of giving generously, the more people become generous, and the more it will work. In the end, it will be better. It will be better. But at the beginning may have to be a little bit gradual, because like here also, this is a temple. It's in the middle of nowhere. So outside the festivals, they don't get that many visitors. And then it's freezing cold here. Krishna Swami said we should have called it New Badrinath. It's not cold. And it's like, it's warm now. This is warm weather for the farm, right? And in the next few days, it's going to go into the minus. Actually, in the night, if you're still going to be here tomorrow, it's going to be minus in the day and minus, and it's going to snow again. It's going to all be snow. I'll just be out of here just in time. See you later. Anyway, so it's an austere place, and they don't have a lot of money. It's an old place. It's broken here and there. They're struggling, so they use the festivals to get some money to keep the place going, you know. So that's why we don't mind. We don't mind they charge. We understand, they struggle here. Give them something. A handful of people sitting here in the sticks, and they are but eventually, if one day we could have this culture of generosity, that would be wonderful. That would be very, very nice. Where everyone start giving, that would be the best. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I thank you all now. This is the end. And looking forward to seeing you again. I hope to that you will all come here again at the time of Nrsimha Chaturdasi, right? And bring also those who didn't come, like all those Italian devotees that couldn't come because of the marathon still going on. You should prepare them that they should come. To Nrsimha Chaturdasi, because this is the deity of Europe, you know, not only of Germany, but actually for all of Europe. And where are the Dutch devotees? Have to bring a bus for the Chaturdasi. A whole bus, no less. You know, and the Czechs, you know, they are not coming, what's going on? If the Czechs don't come, I will not go to Czech also. Like this, yes. Let us all meet again here for the Chaturdasi. Because the mercy of Lord Nrsimhadev is very important.
Yes.
He will take the impurities from our heart. So, thank you for your mercy upon me, your association. I'm going away with fresh inspiration to New York City.